So here's my question. Why do you suppose it is that people, they say victims of abuse are more likely to be arrested in their lives, or people with less education experience a much higher likelihood of being jailed or incarcerated in their life than somebody with more education or who was not abused? I think that happens because people get bogged down by they feel almost like they're not given any faith, like no one trusts them or no one believes in them. They got no leeway, no slack. This is my own Mark's world according to Mark theory here. And so basically, like I said, when people are given more slack or leeway, they could get away with a lot of things, yet not get into any trouble or get into minimal, if any. Just get a little, slap to the face saying maybe you ought to just stop that. But certain people with given less slack and less leeway, they could do the slightest thing and get into a whole ton of trouble. That's like the whole probationary trial period. That's when people are watching you like a hawk. There's like the zero tolerance. And sometimes there's a age-old theory that victims of abuse are often placed into a zero tolerance situation where people protect others from the one who was actually the victim of abuse. Because if that person was treated like crap at their home or household, then it's very likely that person will turn around and treat others like crap. That's like how if people are being negative and they're always accusing me of not doing something they wanted me to do, like the dishes or something, or saying, you didn't do the dishes, no one does the laundry around here, Mark, you're home all day. Mark, I don't want you lying on my couch like that, or why did you turn the TV on, or I thought you have a computer in your room. Eventually, the mounting frustrations will build, and then I'll go ahead and subconsciously start picking on someone else, and then I'll get in trouble for that since what I did wasn't right. I think that what happens is victims of a more authoritarian, strict discipline environment, again, I'm not saying that's what I'm a part of, but it's that they will be more likely to break the rules and turn defiant and backtalk and lie and cheat. But why do you suppose that happens? I always felt that if you don't give anyone any slack or any trust, and if the child is just additional stress, don't think that they're not going to catch on to that eventually. That's the way it goes. The kid's going to sense that, and then they're going to resent that, and they're going to get angry. And it's like, am I just another part of your stress? Why do you want me to behave myself? Because you're thinking about my well-being, or because you're only thinking about how much it would inconvenience you if I was going to behave that way? In my experiences, this is the juncture in time when Mom's going to say, this is the point in time when Mom's going to say, Mark, I don't need your crap right now. Well, she'll use the S word, but it's like, that says it all, that she's not connecting with me. And then I worry that this lack of connecting with me is teaching me not to connect. It's placing all this world of doubt in my mind about, is this the example she set where she's done? She doesn't want to deal with me anymore. It's over. And it gets scary because what's happening is the first step towards brutalizing a person is trying to turn them into some subhuman form. And sometimes I sense my mom does that to me. She'll, like she says, oh yeah, it's the last thing I need is to lug Mark around. And she'll backtalk me a lot. And this makes me feel angry because then I wonder if I contemplate the thought of whether I am in fact in an abusive environment where there's a lot of negativity. And then I think about the highly influential, positive, encouraging type of environment. The type of, those families where each and every one of their kids is very well behaved and stuff, and you see all this nice patterns of behavior, and everybody believes in them, and if anybody was to physically attack them, they'd get all the support in the world, and whoever attacked the individual would be in the biggest trouble. Versus if anyone attacked me, instantly I know what my parents would do. They would question me on whether I did or said something to that person to make them do that to me. People would be having doubts. And that hurts. That's what I find very offensive. And that's why I lash out. Is it right for me to lash out? Probably not. But I do so because I have no idea what else to do. Because I needed a therapist, and I've never been gotten one. I was going to get one today, but I was kind of tired. I don't know if Mom's going to accuse me of not doing the dishes, or she's going to say you didn't, she'd rather me not be in the living room because she feels I'm always in there, or that she felt I had a computer in my own room, or if the computer in the study starts acting up, she's going to turn straight to me and go, Mark, did you do anything to it? That offends me because I feel kind of like that relatives of mine did from my great-grandparents' generation, in which he felt he had all of these past childhood issues that he never really came to terms with, as many tales are told. I never knew this guy personally, but I'm just saying. He felt so ashamed of the fact that he was an orphan and so inferior to the fact that his wife's family was very affluent and one of those high-achieving families, that he never wanted anyone to know that he was adopted. And he was rip-roaring angry when the secret got out, because he felt like he missed something. Although I'm not going to lie, my mother and I have a lot of sweet memories. I just get a little embarrassed to think of my parents too much. But I like to say you can never be, how do I say it? You can never be too old to worry about what your parents might think. Right, you're never too old for that. But my father is the sweetest guy. I think actually, I like to make a joke. I truly appreciate my father's playing the role as a great person to kiss ass with. We kiss ass one another, Dad he's very sweet, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe, if anything, he kind of babies me a little bit, spoils me a little. And my mom objects to my dad's babying me, like, come on, Steve, Mark's old enough, he can get the therapist himself. Now, how would that be being a bad parent on my mother's part? That's being a good parent, because she does know tough love better than my father does. So I think I tend to have more friction against my mother because she is the parent who's more overbearing than my father, and thus the one who is more likely to tell me all of the information that I might need to hear, even though I might not want to hear it. So my mother tells me lots of the things I might not want to hear, although that I have to hear and that somebody will have to tell me sometime. That's one of my favorite reassurements or reassuring antidotes or alibis to place in my mind whenever I want to reassure myself that everything is not as bad as they make it out to be. Now, let's face it, Mom's never going to beat me up. I mean, she's not like, that renegade female prisoner who fought with that other woman at the beginning of the telephone video with Lady Gaga. She's not like that. I mean, a part of me wants to assume that my mother's worse than that her attitude is worse than it actually is, because I think about I get too caught up in myself and think of my mother's attitude in terms of how it makes me feel like I'm from a family where there's more attitude than any others. That's a problem. We got to get that worked out. We got to get that sorted out. I need to speak with a therapist because all that's got to stop. And what the hell would compel me to think about Columbine or that movie Carrie? I tried to discuss it in another video in a way where I could at least own the rights to certain intellectual property, such as my own reaction to that stuff. My reaction to the movie Carrie was it was just a movie. Carrie White was not much different than Cujo the demonic dog, or Saint Bernard, or, Cujo the... Carrie White, in my mind, was no different than Cujo the demonic dog, or the movie Pet Sematary, or even those Chucky movies, Child's Play, or fake. And they were never going to happen in real life. It's just like, I call them October movies. None of the stuff that Margaret White did to Carrie White would have ever flew in real life. It's just a movie. Such as the way that Ron Burgundy was being extremely sexist and male chauvinistic, being a male chauvinist pig to Veronica Corningstone, played by Christina Applegate. Know that, let's face it, Ron Burgundy and his buddies would never keep their job in real life. It's a movie. Movies love to put to life all of those little things that nobody's ever going to dare say in real life. I just feel like I'm the victim of having people snatch me off of somebody else. I'm always the victim of, say, being the one who's being attacked versus the one who's being protected. Is this man bothering you? People are highly concerned for the other person and would be willing to protect that other person from me, or I should say, turn aggressive toward me in favor of guarding the safety and well-being of another person. That I find highly offensive. And that's one of my personal pet peeves. Is this guy bothering you? It's when people expect the worst from me. They might think I'm a perverted creep. They might think that I have no class, that I'm whatever, I'm just some nuisance guy. And then I end up feeling a lot like that Ivy Walker character from the 2004 movie The Village felt like, when she was being attacked by what she felt was one of those creatures. And she was all by herself. She didn't have anyone to help her. And I can't get past the idea of help me. I can never seem to, it's almost like I treat people like members of additions to the chain of command. And that's tough. I have a tough time admitting it, but it's almost like, how there's I'm not big on soap operas, but there's Days of Our Lives, and there's that Sammy lady, and then there's that son that was the one who caused someone to get distracted and run out into the street. I can't remember what the son's name is. Chad, that's his name, Chad. Chad and Sammy together. Watching Chad and Sammy together sort of makes me think of watching my mother and my brother. My mother appreciates my younger brother a lot, not only because he's the baby, but also because she feels like he's someone who will listen to her and who believes her. And so it's a horrible thing to say, I know, but like, does Mom really like... I can't remember where I put the phone. Does Mom really like Matthew a lot because she really likes him a lot, or does she like him because she has an easy time manipulating him? That's an assumption. That was a friend of mine from school. I'm going to return his call soon. Oh, phew, that was close. I'm just not going to return it yet, but I will return it soon. See, I just get concerned. I worry that my mother treats us like a chain of command. Like, she knows she can count on my younger brother Matthew to believe in her and take her side on things. So she'll ask Matthew to perform certain tasks for her. And she gets mad at Matthew whenever he doesn't exactly see things her way. This is how my mind interprets it. My mom would be like, shouldn't be in my room. But it's weird because it's like reverse psychology. The more that people seem to get commanded that you're not supposed to be in there, you can't do this, you can't do that, with nobody connecting with them, and while being completely, entirely loners, will make them feel more obligated, more pressured to, in fact, do the opposite of what they're told. But as soon as people connect with them, it's much easier. They find it much more difficult to break the rules because they feel horrible. Like with my dad, I could never tell my father I hate him. I'd feel bad because my dad didn't ever do anything to me. He's the sweetest guy. He can be a little bit borderline prejudice in my book, but he's a great guy. So who cares? Grandpa had reservations and biases, but he was an excellent guy. So, we kind of accepted that. He more than made up for it. What I hate to see is people being jerks to me and creeps to me, but being able to get away with anything they wish because their social skills are a lot better than mine, so they know how to be sneaky and stuff. And then all people ever see is me retaliating, and I take the blame. But I never like being the one people think needs to be protected against. So like, if somebody's going to protect somebody else from that horrible man named Mark, I don't like that. I feel for reasons I can never quite get to the bottom of, people act aggressively against me and protect other people from me and turn aggressive toward me and very concerned and caring for the other person they're protecting from me. So, I don't know. I will end this video here. Please stay tuned. This is Mark Smith speaking. Thank you for listening. Okay, this video is going to go. I'm just going to keep talking until it runs out of video. Yeah, I mean, have you ever noticed that whenever you treat people, place them on a strict, authoritarian-based regimen where their behavior is being watched, verbatim, word for word, and every little move or every step they take or every breath they take, they feel very oppressed. That's never going to solve the issue. It's like, nothing gets resolved. Because, you know why? They don't want to resolve it. They just want to shut you up so that they can get back to whatever it is they're doing. You can tell you're not really fitting in to the environment. But why would you ever feel that way? Or I'm shocked you would ever feel that way. Or I don't want you to think this. And then when people connect with you, it's like, oh, well, I was going to break the rules, but now I've come to think of it, I don't even know why I was going to do that. I feel kind of embarrassed that I was going to. I think the reason people run into more disciplinary issues or behavioral problems when they're placed on more of a strict authoritarian probationary trial period type of zero tolerance enforcement is because they feel like, do whatever we tell you or else what? It's like, it's like they never want you to question. Well, I can't drive because I got some spatial reasoning. The aptitude in my brain that can control spatial reasoning to be able to allow me to operate a motor vehicle adequately is in the cellar, 5th percentile. So there's no way I could ever be trusted behind the wheel of an automobile. My parents think it would never work out for me in college because it would overwhelm my Asperger's syndrome brain way too much. Really. And do they also disallow any form of arguing with those opinions or deprive you of the entire and complete capability of rebuffing those opinions? Did they just, go, here it is, take it or else? And that's the point. It's like if a cat is meowing and you shout at it, you shriek at it to shut up. It could be hungry or something. You just wish that cat would go away so that you could watch the show more and it didn't distract you. It's a nuisance. That cat is really getting on my nerves. So you wish the cat would just shut up. Maybe it was meowing because it wanted to be fed, but whatever. You might even neglect it and forget to feed it because you sent it outside because you want to hear it meowing. That type of behavior usually spills over into human relations. And I notice that my mom does that. She'll yell at the cat for it to be quiet if she's trying to read or she's trying to watch TV. Or she'll be like, okay, bye, and let the cat outside and never let it in. And then Dad always has to let the cat in. And Mom's like, oh, it's a nice night out. Maybe she's fine. I worry that that my mom is thinking similarly about me. She's reacting similarly about me. She's like, she doesn't really care about what happens to me. She's allowing her grudges on me and passive-aggressive behavior to cause her to be irresponsible and ridiculous. And then I retaliate, and all people see is a man who should know better, and he's about ready to turn 30, being defiant and disrespectful to his mom. But wouldn't it be much harder and more difficult for me to be, wouldn't I find it much more difficult to be defiant and disrespectful to that kind-hearted and gentle adjustment counselor who I befriended in high school, of whom I will not name in this video? Because no, she's so sweet and considerate. It's like she's helping care about me when no one else gives a crap. No one else gives a flying crap. And I'm never going to want to disobey her. And it really